Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back with another Reddit AMA Ask Me Anything with superfan Big Ben. Look at that big face. I've seen that big face all over the BKFC in the ring corner. So it's good to talk to you on here.
Absolutely. How's everything going, Jason?
Everything's good here, sir. Thank you. So, I wanted, you're the first guy who I became friends with in BKFC, and you're super friendly, and I would always see you. I would always see you on TV, and then you came in the Reddit, and we talked a little bit, and then you left Reddit, and when I was going to the Colorado show, I was trying to reach out to you, and I wasn't getting a message, and then I bumped into you at the Reddit or at the Colorado show, and I was like, hey, remember me? And you're like, of course I remember you. So it was good to reconnect. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's good to see you, your family, and the alligator. Oh,
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go and get started. I just want the coolest thing that I remember from the Colorado show was I remember the weigh-ins were fun and all that, but I remember right before the show started, you walk by and you go, "Holy shit, Conor McGregor's coming to watch the fight," and I remember telling the Reddit, "Oh guys, I was just told Conor McGregor's coming to watch the fights," and everybody's like, "Ah, you're full of shit. That's not gonna happen." And then Big Ben came through and Conor McGregor walked in, and everybody just lost their mind.
absolutely. You remember how the guy said when he said you're full of shit, you said I have big insights or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
big. And I was like, man, it was a blast to see Connor in person after watching him for 4 or 5 years, 6 years of just dominating UFC. It
Yeah.
was a blast just to see him in person, and then to see him in our ring. That's above and beyond the one of the most exciting things I've seen in the history of BKFC so far.
Okay, so like I said, I see you in the corner, and I know you're the ring guy, but can you just kind of tell us what you do for BKFC?
So I start from scratch. I pick up the truck from wherever location Mister Feldman tells me to pick it up. I take it to the arena. The arena is completely empty at the time. I designed the ring. I put it together. Um, then we put the poles up, make sure that the ring is in the spot that the lighting crew and everybody wants it. And then from there, I just make sure everything goes smooth. I got the best crew with me, the guys that taught me everything I know.
Okay.
Um, I'll give a shout out to Gary. Gary's the guy who built the BKFC ring from day one. Um, he started me in this path forward, and I just been going with that. And of course, I got DB on my side, so without him, no, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Yeah, this seems like a good idea too. So you guys right now have one ring. You just drive that all across the country, or what's the plan for that?
Yeah, so um, me and Jesus started with DB and Jesus started, then I got in. We take it from city to city, from town to town, break it down, put it up, break it down, whatever they need us to do.
Cool. All right, and so clearly you put up the ring, but I also see your big mug. Sometimes I see your butt crack on TV. You know what's funny is when I watch the shows, you always have the cleanest corner. Like I see you under there mopping up blood and water and stuff. So what else do you do for BKFC?
So I get it's a ring. I'm gonna call it a ring guy. So I hold ropes. I hold the ropes up for all the fighters that get in. Jeff Houston, I apologize to you publicly that I have messed up many of times not holding the ropes for you, sir, but you are still my favorite. Um, I hold the ropes. I do whatever they ask, to be honest, and that's where I'm. That's why I am where I am, because I do whatever they ask me to do when they ask me to do it, and that's how I got to where I am.
Okay, so now the one thing I've noticed with you, you're very particular. You don't want anybody standing on your ropes.
No, 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 no. The ropes bend pretty easy, as you know, from some fights to where the fighter gets a little excited, and we understand that they're going to get excited, but we like to keep them off for two things: injury factor, and it damages the ring.
Sure. Okay, so I see you're wearing a pretty cool shirt. Can I see that shirt? What's the
Yes,
Shave
sir.
Parlor? I've heard
That's
that
my
name before.
okay. So the Shea Parlor, them guys down there, Jay, Omar, Heather, Nate, you son of a bitch. I swear you better start watching the BKFC. The Shea Parlor is special to me, man. To just be honest, I came down here in Florida about 5 months ago now, and they've taken me in like family, and they've taken to the BKFC like no other. I mean, from Omar, who just puts everything every single day of his life, he eats and breathes BKFC. He's actually Swervo Cuts. on
I've
all
seen him on YouTube.
on all platforms. Yes, and then Jay going to a Miami event with BKFC shaved in the side of his head, yellow and black. I mean, what more can you ask from people that just started watching it? You know what I mean? They know fighters' names. They're ready to throw. They're throwing everything at the BKFC that they can handle right now, and they just they just love the sport. And I love to see that Heather and Nate are coming along as well. Great people, absolutely great people, man.
So the one thing I noticed about the Shave Parlor too is I watched the Mike and Mish show. Oh, look at that perfect transition. Anyway, I watched Mike and Mish, and I saw that Shave Parlor just started partnering up with Mike and Mish, sponsoring their show, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a come around, man. They want to put whatever they can into the BKFC, whatever gets their name out on the platform. I appreciate you bringing them up because without you, we don't have them. That is in Cape Coral, Florida. It's off of Del Prado Boulevard. Not sure the exact address, but you can get a hold of Jason as well here on the show, and we'll get you that address. It's in a beautiful barbershop, and we're doing big things. We're going to do bigger things down there here to come.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about Mike and Mish for a second. I'm a big fan of theirs, and I won like this badass poster from them. So like I said, I like them. They're on what is it, Wednesdays and Thursdays usually, unless they go to a fight, and then it kind of like they do interviews at the fights, which is cool. Like I think we got to support each other, like all the podcasts and stuff. And like I said, they're super nice guys, friendly. I talked to them just for a brief minute in Colorado at the pay-per-view show, but
So I can't. This is I don't want to get crazy, but I can't say enough about these two guys. They are just genuine. Both of them from the toes to their fucking hair. Even though Kyle doesn't have much hair,
right,
but they're just genuine people, man. They just love the sport, just like you and I,
sure,
and they give their heart and soul to every single. Well, first and foremost, thank you for their services. They're both military vets. They do their job
they're
every day.
still both active military vets, right?
Absolutely protecting
Yeah,
our country daily, and then to put their rest of their life, kids, family, BKFC. I mean, you just don't get better guys than them. And if
yeah,
we can get more like them in this organization, and we can have a core, from that core, we got to build off of that. And them
sure.
guys are a perfect core to start building off of, and they just keep it real. And that's why I like them so much. I mean, you see me. I haven't missed a show. They've been out since I want to say Knucklemania 1, and I have not missed a single episode. No matter family member passing away, no matter I have not missed an episode or been on that show of Mike and Mish because I want to show as much sport as we can to the outside cast that can help this platform grow.
Sure. Well, I'm sure they
Yeah,
appreciate it, and I appreciate you being so supportive of my show already. And like I said,
absolutely.
every BKFC, like Brian Socha's show, like all these different ones, I always see you. It's always like Big Ben in the comments on YouTube, and like I said, we all appreciate like how much love and support you give everybody.
I'll tell you a short story about Mike and Mish real quick.
Sure.
We're in Salamanca, New York, and I had told him, I said, hey, I'm going to be in Salamanca. And I didn't send him no photos of me. They didn't know who I was or nothing. But I was standing next to the champ, and I'm going to say that again, the champ, Arnold Adams.
Okay.
AJ is, in my eyes, still the champ of the BKFC at heavyweight. Um, I don't think he was beat, but I don't, as you know, I don't talk about wins or losses.
Sure.
I don't predict fights. I just support every fighter that gets in there because you're badass.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm with AJ. I'm in Salamanca, New York. We're in the front lobby, and I see these guys over the side of my eye, and I'm like, babe, I'll be right back. I think this is who we're looking for. And she's like, who? And I said, that's got to be Kyle and Mike. So I walk over, and I'm like, Kyle? He's like, you must be Big Ben. And
Yeah.
I said, what told you that? He said, you're the biggest front. I'll say it just like you're the biggest fucking guy in here. No wonder
Yeah.
you're a Big Ben. And I was like, man, it's so nice to meet you too. And then it's literally been a friendship since that second, to be honest with you. It's been a great friendship, kind of like ours. I,
Yeah.
I'm so easy going. I'm so easy to talk to. Do I talk a lot? Yes. But I'm just, they're genuine and I'm genuine. So it works well.
It works well for me. You and I both drive a lot, and I remember we talked for 5 hours because you were driving, I don't know, like 30 some hours, and I was doing a 20-hour drive. So like we talked 5 hours out of that, just trying to keep each other awake. Looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, you like that, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
I got to get my new one soon. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Oh, he's doing another costume change, guys. Oh, bare knuckle. I like that shirt.
Absolutely. That's the
Yeah,
home right there. That is the home of the number one combat sport in America. If you look at it in my eyes,
yeah,
right there.
absolutely. So, can you tell us how you discovered BKFC and then how you came to work for BKFC?
Absolutely. So th- this is just I'm gonna put it out there. The Feldmans are the greatest family in the world. I, hands down, the best boss I've ever worked for. The behind the scenes, Evan, Broken Brandon, Brian Sosha, um, everybody, Dave Cranston, them guys, they don't get enough, man. They are they're one of a kind. Like,
Sure.
it's seriously crazy. So I'm gonna go back to where you were asking.
Yep.
I uh, I became a PKFC fan in 2000, early 2018, watching just like YouTube videos like anybody else,
Yep.
and I wasn't really into it. Like I liked it because I do like the street fight and all that aspect, but I wasn't really into it. And then one day I'm sitting in my office and they say they're having a BKFC holiday giveaway. This is another reason why Dave Feldman is on a platform of its own. There's
Sure.
no one like this guy. He is the most giving guy that I know that I can think of, and he has this holiday giveaway, and he's giving away all these prizes to everybody, PlayStations, Xboxes, and he has this one prize, and that prize is the ultimate fan prize. It's a trip to Miami, Florida for Orlando, sorry, Orlando, Florida for Knucklemania 1. And I'm in my head, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can compete with anybody talking about how their family died and they need this for this year and they would love to travel and all that. But I do know that I'm a diehard fan, and
Sure.
in that diehard fan, I know a lot about every one of them fighters. Like, even watching Reggie Barnett in the backyard days, just refing with my buddy Mouse. I mean, just knowing everything about Uli Diaz and seeing like a lot of stuff going on with him, I just knew that I had to call. So they have this contest on their YouTube channel, BKFC .com, and I uh, I put my name in the hat. You know what I mean? They say just put your name in the hat and something good can happen. And I put my name in the hat, and I where everyone else was supposed to be sending DMs to these guys, I put it right on my computer. I said, call me right now. I'm up for the challenge. And Rob Braza calls me. He finds out that I'm from the same area as him, and and Rob was like 302. That's my kind of guy. And I was like, I'm from Delaware, and we just started shooting the stuff. And I told him about how much I love the BKFC. I like combat sports in general, just the UFC, BKFC, CFFC. Um, Shout out to my boy. You already know John Morgan, man. That's
Sure.
my
Absolutely.
man. Shout out to that guy. I'm just a big time combat fan, and they put my name in a hat, and I won. I won the contest. My wife says, "Don't you dare give them any information because it's a scam." And I said, "Babe, it's right here on the online. I won." She's
Yeah.
like, "There's no way that they're gonna fly us anywhere." And then, not even an hour after the show, thank God to this day, Dave Cranston calls me, asks me for my shirt sizes, asked me for all my information, and later that night, my tickets were booked to Knucklemania 1. Man, talking about the happiest dude in the world. You're looking at him. I
Absolutely.
I had a freaking blast from getting off the airplane, um, coming into the hotel, meeting a guy that not many people know. They know him online. They know him from the beginning days of BKFC, Robbie Rizzo. Him and Q, the driver at the time for the BKFC. Um, they just took me under their wing and they introduced me to Joey Beltran and Chris Lieben, Chris Lytle, Sean Wheelock. I mean, they introduced me to so many people that like like starstruck I was, and being around the sport and combat, and I'm just like, oh my Atlanta, Georgia, I'm actually here. Like, and I still didn't think it was true. And then I'm told that, hey, you got to get ready, get your clothes on. It we sent you. You're going to go down to the live weigh-ins, and then I met the big man himself, and pinch me not, it was definitely a reality. And that ever since that day, um, I've been on a mission with these guys, and not one day goes by that I'm not talking about the BKFC in somehow, some way, or some shape or form.
Okay, so you're the super fan. Like, how do you go to working for him? Like, I mean, did Dave just like you that much? He said, "I want to hire you," or like, what happened?
So um, as Reggie says, iron sharpens iron. So does Lorenzo say that as well. Um, they heard that I drove trucks. They had a driver. They couldn't find the right driver. They had some drivers issues. I'm not going to put that stuff out there, but they found out. They asked me, and I can honestly say it was a nerves. I was a little nervous when they asked me, but as soon as Mr. Feldman said, "Would you like to?" I already knew. In my head, I was already saying yes, no matter what. I was saying yes to doing whatever they asked me. It could have been fly the plane for Christ's sake. I was trying. I would have got my pilot license in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
just I'm far fetched with that, but I would do whatever they asked me. As much as nice as they were at the time during Knuckle Mania, I literally would have done anything they asked me at the time because they treated me like royalty. I mean, meeting Shaquille O'Neal, Mike Perry. That was Mike Perry's first event, I believe.
okay,
Anthony Pettis, Kayla Harris, Britton Hart. I mean, the list goes on. Paige Van Zant, her husband. Um, the list goes on from all the people I met just that day, and from that day on, just networking, being nice to others, and getting to know people, and moving on from there.
cool. Okay, so you work a lot of fights. Like, who's a really funny fighter that we wouldn't think is like who has a good sense of humor that we wouldn't think has a good sense of humor.
Who has a good sense of humor?
I mean, you're in the corner. You have to hear some funny stuff. Like,
I mean, that's the thing. Like the funny stuff. Like guys will ask if they're winning a round,
yeah,
and to me, it's funny. I'm like, you got 14 cuts on your face, and you think you're winning the round. I mean,
yeah,
that kind of stuff. I mean, David Diaz, that guy, he's a showcase in and out. Travis
yeah.
Thompson, my man, the animal. That guy, he's one of a kind too, man.
He's crazy
I
funny.
so short story about that and Travis and the funny stuff. I meet him at one of Gary Grant's events. It's Gary does Muay Thai and all that stuff, and
Okay,
I helped Gary um, one night, and Travis shows up at the event, and we're chilling together, hanging out, and just having a good time. And Travis, we go outside, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, right? And I get into my truck. Well, my truck's like it's like 6.5 inch lift kit, 44 inch wheels, 52 inch tires. Travis is like, "That's yours." I was like, "Yeah, you want to walk under it and check my oil?" Just playing around with him. And he was like, "No, I want it." And I was like, "If I ever get rid of it, man, I'll give it to you." But and not sound like an Indian giver or a dickhead or nothing like that. I I had to look for my family, so I had to get rid of it for a 3,500 instead of a 2,500, or I would have
okay,
gave it. I would have gave it to him for the fight of the year that he had with David Diaz.
sure.
But what a great guy, man. I hope he watches this and sees that I do appreciate him inside the ring and outside the ring as well.
Cool. So you said that you think AJ Adams is still a champion. So it was just announced that there's a big super fight coming to Salt Lake City, which is crazy. Did you want to go ahead and go over that card, and we'll talk about some of the, I know you don't give predictions or anything, but you want to just talk about the card, or
Yeah, we can absolutely talk about the card. I'd see AJ fighting Mick Terrell, correct?
correct? That's correct.
So they've already fought once. Mick said he had COVID and had some stuff issues going on.
Right.
Hopefully he comes over early and we get a real Mick Terrell to see
Yeah.
where we're at. He is a beast, Mick Terrell. If you watch any of his earlier fights, he's got it. He's definitely a bare knuckle fighter. So he's going to get the best AJ. If you haven't watched any of AJ's stuff, I don't have social media except for little stuff here and there like the messenger, but not besides that. I don't see much. I just
Yeah.
hear it all. I hear it all, and YouTube is one of them ways I can, what I mean, see all that kind of stuff. When you guys tell me, you, Mish, Mike, um, Russ, and Country from the Extreme Bare Knuckle page, them guys tell me stuff. I go
Yeah.
check it out. DJ Tony, he tells me stuff, and I think that's going to be an absolute war. And AJ Adams, I think we're going to see the best one we've ever seen yet. In shape, I just can't wait, man. That's going to be one of them fights where you're just like, this is why I'm a fan. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
So prior to Adams's fight against Belcher, like I mean, he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore," type of thing, and he was. It almost sounded like retirement talk. And then he had the controversial loss to Belcher, and then recently, I mean, he just seems like he's on the next level. He absolutely seems like he's training his ass off, and he's in shape. And I feel like that loss like lit a fire under him. Knowing that he could lose, I feel like lit a fire under him.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, even in the fights that they say he lost, and I mean, you do have to go with what the ref says. So
Sure.
if the ref says you lost, you lost. I mean, you can complain, you can say what you want, and the bottom of the line, you let the ref make the decision. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, I just hope that he comes out and gives it like the heart that he's had when he was fighting in the earlier days. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he just went out and let it hang out. Didn't want to be a showman. He just showed that he can throw his hands. I literally think that's going to be a barn burn that can go either way.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the main event: Mike Perry versus Eddie Alvarez. I mean, dude, just two absolute dogs, and I mean, it's a lot of weight for Eddie to go up. It's going to be a tough task, but I mean, if
Yeah,
anybody can do it, Eddie can certainly do it. So
yeah, yeah. I saw Eddie and Chad banging out in the BKFC 41 in Denver, and Eddie hasn't lost a step. I mean, I remember seeing
yeah,
Eddie in UFC, just a little faster, but the guy's hands are ridiculous. And Mike Perry, I mean, what more can you say about a Mike Perry? The guy is single handedly taking this company on his back. I mean, everybody wants to see Mike Perry. Everybody, no matter who it is. Mike Perry, Dave Mandel, Mike Perry, this, Mike Perry. I mean, the
yeah,
guy
Mike
could
Perry,
fight.
Luis
The,
Palomino.
the
Everybody wants a piece of Perry.
Perry could fight until he's 60 right now with all the fights that they want for that guy.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to fight Mike Perry. I mean, I mean, it's great. That's going to be a heck of a fight. Um, like, obviously, if Perry puts on his will and his push, he
yeah,
can win the fight. If Eddie hits him and stuns him, does Perry still coming forward? You know what I mean? There's like all
yeah.
kinds of options there. I just think that, I think that, man, I think that's going to be one for the. I think that's going to be one for the record books. I think Nate Shook doesn't get enough credit for the awesome fights he puts on. He only hears about the ones that aren't so good. But when he puts
Sure.
on an awesome fight, I think we should let him hear that as well.
No, and I'm one of those people that completely agrees with that. I feel like you should absolutely tell somebody if they're doing something wrong, but on the same sense, if they're doing fantastic, you need to let them know also. And like Nate Shook, like blew it out of the park. Like his two pay per view cards are phenomenal. So like I said, this card's looking amazing. And then he's got Big Ben Rothwell versus, or is it Little Ben Rothwell? Because I mean you're Big Ben, right? But versus
Hey,
Todd Duffy.
hey, if Big Ben, my man, I have no disrespect towards that guy, didn't see the photo of me being a half an inch taller than him. I mean, he is bigger than me in some aspects.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm the legit. You already know. I've been around way before that guy. He's been around the fight game longer.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been around. I've been around this company longer. So, I mean, I I think we both can be Big Ben. But
You'll share the title.
yeah, yeah, because I'm not in the public eye like that guy. So
Sure.
I really don't. I just don't. I don't know if I want to change anything with me because I like when Lorenzo gets mad and yells at me. If you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, that was pretty funny when they're like, "Oh, Big Ben said this," and Lorenzo goes ape shit on Brian Socha's podcast, and they're like, "No, not that Big Ben, the Big Ben ring guy," and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah, so I texted him later that night and he apologized. He's Lorenzo. I mean, I he's one of a kind, man. Like you don't find people like you find in this company.
sure,
Literally, Lorenzo. I mean, he's one of them guys that will admit when he's wrong, and not a lot of people do that. And he said he didn't mean it for me at any by any means.
sure."
Um, and he didn't even realize that was also my YouTube name. So it's cool, man. I love Lorenzo. I love his family. His wife's a great person. Um, his father's a great guy. I love that guy a lot,
Well,
man.
okay, so Big Ben is fighting Todd Duffy. Do you feel like? I mean, I feel like the fact that Rothwell has two fights already under his belt, I feel like that experience is kind of go his way. But I mean, kudos to Todd Duffy. I saw him all over social media begging for a fight, and then they end up putting him in there with
Yeah,
Rothwell. So
yeah. Is that a jump in the deep end? Do you think? Like, is Todd Duffy got enough weight to even? do anything to Ben.
I have
Um,
no idea. I'm curious if it's going to be at 265 or if it's like another like unlimited weight. You know, I don't know. Like if it's
yeah, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it where, I mean, Ben is working his way down from what I understand. He's
that's
getting
what I was told.
every fight he's going down and down more and more, which is
Yeah,
great. That just shows the heart of a guy that wants to be in there, and if he can't be in there at the weight he is, he's going to get down to the weight where he can, I mean, be a legit contender.
yeah,
Um, the honestly, I mean, I saw a bunch of Todd Duffy's fights. I think that's going to be a very, very good fight.
okay,
But are you really want? I mean, Ben's a bear. Like
yeah,
he's a legit like polar bear. He's like
yeah.
I stood next to the guy. I shook his hand. Greatest guy, super nice guy. But I don't want to be across the ring from that guy. I mean,
No,
seriously, like the beating he put on Josh Copeland. Josh, I mean, have respect 100% for that guy. But that was the first event that I did where I had to actually go back and change everything I was wearing in the back room because Ben Rothwell got Josh's blood all over me on the
sure.
side of the ring. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's some hard punching when you're hitting the guy's blood across the ring. So that I mean, that fight really intrigues me, to be honest with you, Jason. I think that Duffy's going to be faster, but Ben's going to be stronger. So
Sure.
they're going to collide in the middle, and Ben's not going anywhere but forward. So we'll see what happens from that aspect of the fight. See who wills their power more.
Okay, so then we got Kai versus HD Howard Davis. Like
Oh man, man, man! I
that's gonna
told you
be
that.
someone's getting knocked out.
Yeah, I told you I didn't want to talk about
No,
that. Just kidding, just kidding. Kai, great guy, hell of a wrestler. Means so much to me with his push with the Special Olympics. You already know that story from
wearing
behind
the
the
medal.
scenes.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be one proud person to wear something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you, the Special Olympics are a special spot in my heart as well, with family members and stuff like that. So I think Kai has been training his butt off. I think Kai is learning the game. I think he hits in different angles that people aren't used to, and he's strong as a horse in the clinch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my homie HD, man, he's from the 305. Is there anybody tougher in the world than the 305 guys? I
Sure.
mean, they just come out to bang, and HD has got speed, intelligence. The guy is growing, and now he's got a 7-foot monster that backs him in everything he does.
Yeah, when you got Shaq in your back pocket, right?
Yeah, yeah, and but I mean, even without that, HD is he's training with guys that are just killers. Bryce Henry, my
Absolutely.
my Bryce Henry's my man. You already know. Um, Go, Duran, guys like that, and that again is that iron sharpen iron, steel sharpening steel mentality where they're joining together. I wanted to throw it out there. A young guy sucker punched HD at a fight. I don't know if
I
you
saw
saw
the
that.
video of that. Yeah, I actually saw the
And
video.
for HD to get hit that hard with a broken hand and not move, he got sucker punched. Not, I'm not saying this guy squared him up. The guy literally would hit him from the side, and it didn't even phase it. HD turned at that guy like the Terminator. He literally just was like, "If that's all you got, your better chance is running." And man, it's gonna that fight's gonna be, if not one round, because of HD's strength and distance, that fight's going to be one hell of a scrap, man. I think that fight goes. It could go 5 rounds if it goes either way, and it's going to be a very very hard decision on the judges to figure out who's going to win that fight because it's so different in the aspects of the fight. You got a wrestler with some decent hands, and you got a guy that just is a modern day sniper. He
Yeah.
just picks every punch. Rusty Crowder. I mean, you saw what he did to him. I mean, it's just I don't know, man. I'm not going to say who I think's going to win. So I think it's just going to be one of them fights that you have to tune in, get
Yeah.
that BKFC app, and watch that fight, man. That's going to be that there could be the main event.
Yeah.
Every fight we've talked about so far could be a main event on any other card, and we're going to see
Absolutely.
them all in one night. How? I mean, How special is that shit?
Yeah. Hey, so then we got Misfit versus Beck, like a rematch from the Denver show. I mean, Misfit was putting it on her, but then Beck started coming back, and then that cut ended up finishing it. So like this is actually one that I think, like you just said, I mean we've talked about 4 fights or 5 fights, and each one of them is a main card, a main event.
Yeah. Christina, legend. That's all you can
Sure.
say. When you say her name, you have to call her a legend because the girl is just badass. Like she's calling out people that nobody calls out,
Yeah.
and they will still won't come to the ring with that girl with bare hands. And Beck Rollins to step up to do this again
Yeah.
has to know. She has to know something. She has to have. Beck Rollins has the heart of a lion. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, you know them Australians. She's from Queensland, Australia. You know that they just build different over there as well.
Sure.
And I think that's gonna. It's a fan fight there. Who loses in that fight? Nobody. Nobody. The nobody loses.
Yeah.
That we're gonna get a fight of the year between them two as well. Hopefully, no cut stop it. Hopefully, it's a punching decision.
Sure.
Um, I really respect Beck coming back like a dog and wanting that fight. Yeah, I think nobody can lose in that fight there, man.
Okay, so now this next fight, like we hear stuff, you hear stuff, I hear stuff, and this one I had no idea. This one kind of came out of nowhere. Like the BKFC had signed Jeremy Stevens, Little Heathen, and he's fighting Jimmy Rivera. Like again, like Rivera's had, he had an absolute war against HD, and then he won his last fight. This is a big fight, and like Chris Camozzi said that he thought Little Heathen was probably the one guy from the UFC that he thought would do like really well in BKFC.
Nice, nice. Chris Camozzi, that guy. What a great guy that is. I'm glad you brought that guy up. Um, man, so I seen Stevens do a boxing match, right? He did a
Yeah.
boxing match. Looked
Yep.
very well. Looked very good in that.
Sure.
Um, but you got to kind of go with Jimmy here, right?
I think you give Jimmy the experience, but Little Heathen's got absolute dynamite in his hand. So it's one of those
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So I don't want to really pick a fighter, but
sure,
um, as my experience and and the boys know that I'm going to take the guy that's in the BKFC. I'm not
sure.
going to take a UFC fighter ever because that's just the way I was raised per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you support your people. Sure.
yeah, yeah. You got to. There's no way the company can grow if you're putting their names in your mouth in the worst way. You know what I mean? So BKFC is Jimmy Rivera right now, and Little Heaven's trying to get in it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that I think that he can either do two things. He could either make an explosion and come after everybody,
Yeah.
or Jimmy could have the experience and go right through them. So
Sure.
we'll see what happens in that aspect.
So I've heard the rumor of a couple littler fight. I say littler fights, a couple of undercard fights. I can't really announce them on here yet, but it's like some local people in Salt Lake, which would be kind of cool. I don't know. Like I'm excited to watch it. It is a pay per view event, but I feel like you got to support BKFC a couple times a year. If you have to buy a pay per view, like it's $7 or it's $8 a month for the app, and then they do a couple. So you have to support them. So, but
Like I tell everybody that I talk to,
yeah,
you, all my friends, the Shea Parlor guys, everybody. There's not one cup of coffee worth the excitement you're going to get if you spend $7 and watch two events per month. You spend more than that in one day on junk food.
sure,
You know what I mean? And you're going to get the event, even if it's a total line or
yeah,
a prospect series. Everything has got some excitement somewhere, like
yeah,
three or four fights. I believe I want to go back to. I think it was BKFC 36. It might have been 35. I might be a little off. I'm not usually, but they had like 17 or 16 fights and 14 knockouts. I
yeah.
mean, where else in the world you're not getting that in the UFC?
No,
You know
not
what I
at
mean?
all.
Like you're not getting that kind of stuff, and the shows that they put on and the heart that they put into this organization with every fighter and everybody on Dave's team. Dave always talks about his team, if you
Yeah,
notice that, because he has the best team in the business, and that's why he talks about them so well. They put on the best show, and it's only getting better, as you know. You've been watching it. It's
yeah.
getting better every time. It might not be the best card, oh my god, but the card is still usually very, very, very good.
No, you definitely have better, like a handful of better fights than you do. You know what I mean? Like you'll watch a UFC fight and you're like, oh wow, all like 10 of the fights went to decision, and it took 6 hours to watch it. You don't have that with BKFC. It's action packed from start to finish, and like you said, you might have a couple. There's only a handful of fights that I can go like, wow, that was a terrible fight. The rest of them, like you said, they're always something action packed or a knockout or something.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick insight. I have a wife and two kids, and for my daughters to sit down and watch this
Yeah,
and fall in love with it, like literally love the BKFC. They
yeah,
wear the shirts to school. My one daughter wears it to college. They literally wear like they love the events. My wife, like literally, if she has something to do on a Friday night and there's a fight,
yeah,
that's getting canceled because she's
sure,
gonna watch the fights. It's crazy because what she sees in the BKFC that she doesn't see in the UFC is the which is a sport. The MMA
sure,
is a sport. I'm not gonna knock them, and I know that I know that a lot of BKFC fans will start like downgrading the UFC. It's still a great sport, and they're
sure,
still number one. They are for now. That's what I said. I love being a strong number two, but they're number one for now. And but they have Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and the stuff where they lay down on the ground and nothing really happens. Like
sure.
they'll sit on top of each other and stuff like that. You won't see that in the BKFC.
No,
You might see a double leg takedown or a flying knee once in a blue moon if people forget that they can't do it. But I'm telling you, there's from bell to bell, you can't find a better place with action than the BKFC. Not one. It's action from start to finish. 70% of a card is nonstop. They just punch and punch and punch, and somebody's got to go down. You know what I mean? And that's what brings my heart into this organization because I love the way that it's ran and the heart that they throw out for the company.
so I asked the Reddit to send me questions, and one of our mutual friends, Russ, he said he wants to know what it's like to be famous.
Whoa, Russ, my man. I I wouldn't consider myself famous, even though like yeah, walk through an airport and someone's like, hey, or uh my most famous part was I was loading a truck at work one night and the guy said, do you work on like a TV show? And I was like, no. It was my first event. It was
Okay,
my first event I did in Mississippi. And he said, no, I seen you on some kind of combat thing on YouTube. And I was like, not me. He's like, no, the bare knuckle, the BKFC thing. And I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's me. He said, you're the Big Ben guy, right? And I was like, yeah. Like I'm not famous, man. I
sure,
just, and I don't want all the stardom. I just want people to understand that there is good people out in this world that care, and I care about that company. Like literally, I really do care about that company.
all right. So we're at the end of our time. Is there anything you'd like to shout out, or like a message you'd like to get out, or anything you want the fans to know?
Well, yeah, tune in to every fight card. Get the BKFC app at bkfc.com. I want to shout out you for giving me this time and this platform to talk about a nobody that became a somebody. You know what I
Sure.
mean? That's pretty much it. Shout out to my boys, Mission Mike, Russ and Country, Omar, Jay, Keith, or Heather and Nate. Sorry. Um, Shout out to them at the Shade Parlor down in Cape Coral. DJ Tony, getting ready to do big things. Everybody I work with, DB, Jeff Houston, the Feldmans, every person, Kevin Smith, man, what a great guy that is as well. Um, I just want everybody to know that we're here to stay and we're not going anywhere. And good luck trying to get us out of here. So it's just going to keep opening up doors. The more people show up and show out, the more doors that we get open to build and make our product better.
Awesome. All right, guys. So that's Big Ben, the super fan, the ring guy, and you guys. You don't have social media. I would tell people, hey, follow him on social media. But you're kind of shit out of luck. So if you see him at an event, be sure to say hi. Though he's a super nice guy, and he'll talk to you. And maybe he'll even
Absolutely,
sign an autograph.
absolutely, Jason. I appreciate your time, man. Thanks again.
All right, sir. Have a good day.
Too.